Good evening. I'd like to call the order the regular scheduled Town of Haymarket Planning Commission meeting Monday, March 18th. Roll call, please.
Singler,
Here.
Denning,
Here.
Howard,
Here.
Gonzalez,
Present.
Young.
Present.
All right. And could we all stand for the Pledge of Allegiance, please? I pledge
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay. All right. And citizens' time. Do we have anybody in the audience that would like to talk that does not have an application tonight? Okay. Closing citizens' time. Moving on to minute approval for the regular meeting on February 20th. Do I have a motion to approve the minutes?
I have a question or a request for a correction on the minutes. Just two things I had noted briefly. On packet page 2, agenda item 5, number 3, 1 mile review 1. I noted in the second sentence there about the due to a conflict was DO. I believe it should be DUE. Due to a conflict. And then the other piece was on item, the next item 4, 1 mile review 2, related to the suggestion to request a vegetative buffer. I believe that should be stated more of a, to ensure that an appropriate vegetative buffer would be in place to preserve any entry point into the town. Not an additional vegetative buffer, but an appropriate one. So I would move to accept these minutes as amended, if that's the correct protocol.
That is. Do you need a second on the amended?
Second.
All right. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All right, closing out the minutes. Next on the agenda, the zoning text amendment, DEQ requirement. Request for a public hearing.
Yes, good evening, Commission. I believe there's some members on the Commission that may not have reviewed CBPA items before, so I'll give a brief rehash of what we've done in the past. As part of the Chesapeake Bay watershed, we're required to follow the Chesapeake Bay Act, Preservation Act of 1995. As part of that, we have to be in compliance with certain codes and regulations that are enforced by Virginia DEQ. That included comprehensive plan amendments that we've made in the past year and often zoning text amendments. I'm bringing back to the Commission a zoning text amendment that was passed in January 3rd by the Town Council in 2023. In discussion with our local programs coordinator at Virginia DEQ, the coordinator insisted that I cross-reference the plat notation that is in the subdivision ordinance, which is also referenced in our general plan requirements and plat requirements in the zoning ordinance. So what I provided for the Commission to request a public hearing for today on packet page 6 and packet page 8 are just that footnote notation, noting and cross-referencing that what you see in the subdivision ordinance is also available in the general plan and plat requirements. So that way we're not liable for anything a developer may overlook when it comes to those CBPA items.
Is there reference of these notes in section 58 3.7 by any chance?
If not, I can make that reference, and as we move to public hearing, I can include that in the public hearing as well.
Like, if nobody reads up to this section, then if we have that included so they know that there's some linkage to this section.
If there's no further comment from the commission, I wanted to amend the draft directive that I provided for the commission. I didn't provide a date for the public hearing located within that. It would just be the April 15th Planning Commission meeting.
It would be a directive for us to proceed with public notice for a public hearing on April 15th. There would be no motion required.
We don't need a motion?
No, just a directive for us to proceed with the public notice.
All right,
So anyone, any,
Yeah,
oh,
just
okay, I can
without
do that.
objection.
Okay.
Without objection, you give the direction for us to proceed with the public hearing.
All right, without the objection, the Planning Commission directs town staff to schedule and post public notice for a public hearing on the zoning text amendment as presented, adding the appropriate language, cross-referencing section 3.7 of the zoning ordinance and the subdivision ordinance. The public hearing shall be held at 7 p.m. on April 15th at 7 p.m. Will be held on April 15th at 7 p.m.
No objection?
no.
Okay.
Along with the zoning text amendment, in my correspondence with a couple of real estate agents and other developers inquiring about certain historic properties on Haymarket, I directed them to the comprehensive plan stating that what the definition of a historic structure is in Haymarket. Upon looking at the definition I gave them, I realized in the comprehensive plan, it does not match the updated zoning ordinance's definition of what a historic structure is in Haymarket. On packet page 9, I've provided you that alteration, which changes all buildings within the old and historic town of Haymarket, which are 50 years old or older, are designated historic buildings, to all buildings within the historic Haymarket overlay, which were built prior to 1950, are designated historic resources. I've also updated the number and section of the code that references that.
Can we put one thing? We don't have that many buildings, but I was just thinking to say on or prior to the exact date. So 1950 is one full year, so I don't know which date of the year prior is included. So on or prior to, let's say, December 31st, 1950.
January 1st.
Yeah.
January 1st.
The reason I worded it this way, it was just a direct quote from the zoning ordinance.
Okay. Yeah, I don't think that we have that many buildings which would have built during that 1 year, but just in case.
So this is to tie it to the zoning ordinance? you said?
Exactly, just so
Okay.
we're giving the right information to developers.
So in that case, then, if it
We have to
says
fix-
1950, then just keep,
Oh.
yeah.
Does this situation occur in any other location in the comprehensive plan, the current comprehensive plan? Or is it only in this section?
From what I was observing, just this section of the comprehensive plan. If not, I can provide that in a more bulk section of comprehensive plan amendments provided to the commission.
And do we have list of buildings by any chance or any plan which, okay.
Yes, in the comprehensive plan itself, there is a list of all the buildings that fall within this definition.
Okay.
In fact, we may need to take some of them off because they were demolished recently in the past few years.
I see.
So, but yes, there's a list.
Gotcha.
We got another draft or
Yes, there's a draft directive on packet page 9, this time with the date of April 15th included.
I can make the directive.
Okay.
Jerome.
You said that date of 1950 matches up with your zoning,
Yes, correct.
and that references what? Do you know what the zoning references? Where they gets that?
Yes, in the highlight on the item of consideration, it references section 58-16.3. So it'll be included in the comprehensive plan with that footnote.
Is that referencing any kind of state historic directive or anything like that?
I could look back in the zoning ordinance and see what the historic state resources say, but from what the quote provided, or the comprehensive plan provided, it was just a reference to the town code.
So I believe this was done in order to avoid every single building eventually from becoming a historic building at some point, right?
Because the old
Yeah.
zoning, the old ZTA had 50 years,
Yeah.
so,
So this
townhouse
building,
is
that
almost 50
building,
years
yeah,
old.
yeah,
Exactly.
can be historic, yeah.
yeah. So 1980 homes soon would be considered historic.
Okay. But also this changes it to within the historic Haymarket overlay as opposed to anywhere within the town, right?
Currently, the overlay is the corporate limits of the town.
Okay.
And eventually, I'm just curious, will this definition change because in next 50 years, new buildings will become historic or something?
No,
no.
because it's,
No.
it's not
1950.
50 years, it's 1950.
That's what this is trying to avoid.
Avoid it.
The old one, you know.
No, I'm saying in future, if future generation will say, okay, this building is 50 years old, so it should be also historic.
No, it's 1950s.
No, I get it. I get this point. I'm just saying otherwise. In future also,
Yeah, yes.
the current buildings will become historic.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe at that point of time, maybe we need to change the year.
That's, no,
Yeah.
that's why this is being, oh, I see what you mean.
Yeah, in the
Okay,
future, they
in the
could
future,
turn, they could.
okay.
they-
Future
they
generation
could-
will say this
they could-
hotel is
right,
historic.
They could change the ZTA to,
1960,
yeah,
70.
make it
Also-
1960 or 70s.
I also like to make sure it's in compliance and matches up with what the state historical society says, so there's no conflict between, county, city, state.
Mhm.
So that was the
I
challenge.
think that was established when they determined that date, when they established the ZTA in 2021.
That is something we can double check and get back with you on.
All right, without objection, the Planning Commission directs town staff to schedule and post public notice for a public hearing on the comprehensive plan amendment as presented, adding the appropriate language to cite the definition of a historic resource in Haymarket. The public hearing shall be held on April 15th at 7 p.m.
Any objections to the public notice? Thank you.
All right, and that concludes our agenda items. Moving on to old business, Tom?
Yes. So I've prepared comments for the Dave's substation special use permit and also the Grayson Overlook rezoning in discussion from council, and that can also maybe expanded upon in the council report, but in my comments, I'm also going to add the traffic study that we've requested as commission, and in our comments, we want to include that to include Haymarket traffic as well, not just any traffic on the particular intersection. So I'll make sure to note that it's a more thorough study of the traffic along Jefferson Street.
All right, moving on to new business?
Yes, just an update on one of the preliminary site plans we are reviewing that may come up in the commission in the next couple of months. One of the pad sites, the final pad sites at Crossroads Village, it's the Nova Haymarket Hotel, which has an SUP for certain dimensions there, height dimensions in that site. We are currently reviewing the second submission of the preliminary site plan and plan on starting review of the final site plan submission soon for that particular site. So in the coming months, expect that to be on the agenda. And then additionally, we are almost done reviewing the Chick-fil-A special use permit for completeness. That should be brought before your commission within the next couple of months as well.
I have a question. How many rooms approximately are they, the hotel? Do we know?
I believe it's 155 rooms and it's a 5-story hotel.
Because of the 50-foot,
The SUP actually is 75 feet.
75? Wow, okay. All right.
All right, ARB updates. So we took a site visit on Wednesday, March 6th at the Town Park Building, and Town Council approved the demolition, but we were just trying to salvage any historical pieces from the outside. And we decided to keep some of the stonework on the outside and some of the interior wood. And Tom, what did we decide on the chimney?
If salvageable and part of the final design plan between town staff and council,
Yeah.
then preserve it or at least keep the materials. But it falls within the other few materials that we were looking at,
Yeah.
the stone items, as you said.
Right. So that's pretty much it for that.
Okay. Did you, by any chance, I don't know if this will mean additional cost in terms of integrating part of the park building into the pavilion, but was that taken into consideration? Whether or not this will result in an additional cost?
I believe it will. I'm not 100% on that, but
I wasn't at the meeting.
If it does, the cost will be discussed at the council level.
Okay.
Once the design itself is presented.
So my understanding from listening to the minutes that Marchant was going to bring these items up at the council meeting level, at the next council meeting level for council to discuss their recommendations.
I wasn't sure if they are, if you can talk through that, or if that was, in
yeah,
consideration.
no,
Okay.
no, everything's got to be approved by you, council level. So that's pretty much it. We have a meeting Wednesday.
Okay.
All right, and town council updates.
Not a whole lot of updates, a couple of things during the last meeting. One of the agenda items was the food truck ordinance. There is going to be a second public hearing as a result of a considerable changes to the ordinance. And town administration presented the town council proposed FY 2025 budget, which I think you should be able to access on the Town of Haymarket website. But again, this is just proposed. We're going to be working through this for the next, several months. There are a couple of double-digit increases in terms of the budget, this budget, proposed budget, in comparison to the previous budget. I think based on what I saw for the town administration portion, I think is about 15% increase. And about 33% increase for the police department. 2 additional police officers are being proposed by the police department. That's the primary driver of the increase in the cost. But again, nothing is final. We'll talk through it and figure things out.
Also the trash.
Trash, yeah. The fee one, I think is as a result of the county is charging, I forget what it is.
Or our contract with our current trash service
Yeah.
is up in June.
Yeah.
So we had to put an RFP out for new trash bids.
Yeah.
And because of the county imposing tipping fees now,
Tipping fees, yeah.
they passed that on back down into the town. So we're looking at a probably 79.7% increase in our trash service.
Marchant mentioned that at the last meeting. He said something about potentially to lower the cost, maybe only doing 1 pickup a week.
Correct.
Yeah.
Looking at an alternative or keeping it the same.
Yeah, I think that's going to require feedback from the town residents.
Okay, they want people
Yeah.
from the town residents,
Yep.
on whether to lower that cost by going to 1 day trash, 1 day recycle, or keeping it at 2 day trash, 1 day recycle.
Yeah. According to this, is actually a 90% increase, trash removal contract.
Well, my whole beef with this is that a lot of the HOA communities don't police people just throw everything out in our community. I mean, and it really shouldn't be on the town to police it. but I don't think the HOAs are doing a good enough job controlling it. I mean, people leave couches out, they leave, so it's no wonder that the tipping fees are going up. Because, so,
You know. Yeah, I've wondered, I don't know, if we were to pay for the trash and recycling on our own out of pocket, I wonder how much that would be. Just, yeah, I have no idea.
I know how much it would be,
How much? How much?
$75 a month for 1 and 1,
Okay.
at least that. I've already inquired on that. I gave the numbers to Roberto.
That's about $900 a year, right? Yeah. So actually, based on that, in terms of the real estate tax that we pay, the residents might be ahead
That's right. That's right.
when you think
Go
about
ahead.
it,
Yeah,
right?
right?
Being almost subsidized to some extent by the town. So I guess I shouldn't complain about the real estate tax, should I? Okay.
all right. All right, any other,
Go ahead.
I have one thing.
Mm-hmm.
On the, can we make this pedestrian crosswalk safer? Like I think so. A few months ago, you and I was proposing
Jefferson Street or Fayette
the
Street?
the next one in front of museum.
Washington and Fayette.
Yeah, but because every time I cross this one, nobody stops and everybody's just cruising. And it's one of the crosswalks within the town area. Like we have further crosswalks, but this is one within the old buildings and not protected by a signal. So other ones are at the next to the signal. So I feel like there should be beacons or something. As soon as somebody just jumps on the road, beacons start flashing.
Yeah, in terms of Beacon, actually, they did some sort of a study, looked into it, and apparently these beacons of flashing things
They stay on.
actually result in
More
more
crashes?
more pedestrian accidents because it gives them that sort of confidence to thinking that it's flashing, so I have right of way, the car is going to automatically stop, right? And then they just go in front of car and end up getting hit. So they looked into that, at least based on what was reported to the town council.
And to your point as well, we have been finalizing the one sidewalk design in town parks. That is at the forefront of our mind, pedestrian safety when it comes to crosswalks.
Mm-hmm.
So that's something we can note internally as town staff and potentially discuss at council level.
Okay.
And also as a resident,
Right.
public comment's always there too.
Yeah. Now, then I have to look into the VDOT. If that was the study outcome, then we have to look into VDOT because VDOT always recommend beacons as one of the additional mitigation measures.
Yeah, that was
It's from VDOT.
VDOT. Yeah, that was from VDOT.
That's what VDOT.
But they have not changed their requirements, like their manual on pedestrian crosswalk yet.
Yeah. But something previously had mentioned to Emily was not crossing from one side of the street to the other, but like I know we want this to be a walkable town, but sometimes walking to Sheetz and McDonald's area, that's
dangerous.
that's dangerous. So I don't know what can be done about it. I know it's just two white lines, but yeah.
There are other options. I don't know if we want to go that far, like raised pavement. So it is like it's called a speed table,
Mm-hmm.
basically. So it's a raised pavement for like 10 feet ish, so that people have to slow down.
I don't think the VDOT is open to that, if I'm not mistaken, in Washington.
That as well,
Yeah.
with VDOT. They've had several meetings with VDOT.
Yeah.
Remember to make sure circling back on the discussion.
So we'll bring it back up.
Because a few months ago it was a light. I thought it's a dark because it's dark. That's why people are not able to see. But during daytime also it's the same thing. That's it.
All right, any other updates, comments? All right, do I have a motion to adjourn?
So moved to adjourn.
Second?
I have second.
All right, we're adjourned.
It's become a tradition.
All right.